Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at AVAX, see what's going on, double check this chart here. Tentatively looking bearish, of course, most of the market is, but we're also coming into a key level support range, which is a previous high. So oftentimes you will see a pivot and or a bounce in situations like these, pending Bitcoin doesn't dump. So again, trading altcoins is tricky. You got to really be mindful and aware of what Bitcoin's doing at all times, which is why I consistently analyze it twice a day, and that you probably see me cover Bitcoin for the most part. Again, it's just a good foundation of understanding what's going to happen next. At this point, though, we can presume the price will continue lower just based on Bitcoin tentatively pulling back, Bitcoin dominance being way too high for altcoins to succeed, and we just got to see that shift in momentum happen before I think altcoins are going to recover. So heads up on that. It's not the greatest conditions to take a long. If you do take a long, you want to watch it close and make sure that it's something that you pay close attention to. Okay, as per usual, you should do that at all times, but more specifically, I prefer to set it and forget it and take trades based on confirmation. And there's not a lot of confirmation in the market right now with these ascending trend lines being tested and resistances essentially holding the price action in place. So it's just not like ideal trading conditions today. So we did flip from long to short trades. By the way, we had a Filecoin long. We closed at a slight loss, opened an SEOI trade there, up about 17% on that. We were basically, I'm leaning more towards shorts than longs at this point, but I'm not trying to get too heavy with them either because this is one of those weird things where everything could really take off soon, and we just want to be sure that we're not trying to be breakout traders, because there's not really it's not a best case scenario for those kind of trades. So taking a look at liquidation on the left and then liquidation on the right, that's basically 30 days on the right, and then on the left here we got the last 7 days. Generally speaking, we can see that there's still a lot of liquidation at that $30 mark, so there's a solid consideration for AVAX to continue back to that range. However, we look here, 27 to 26, we got a lot of longs entering the market here, late longs, and that concerns me because as that delta starts to shift, we could start to see the price action either recover or continue lower. We're respecting a descending trend line right now, and I think that it's probably best to expect the price to continue lower, but we're also traveling into a support range too. So we got to wait for one of those two things to hold. That's really just what it boils down to. Again, I think the premise here is patience. I know it's like a 4-letter word for most people, but in crypto trading, it's probably the most important thing you could ever do. That and taking care of yourself, making sure you walk away if you have a bad day and not trading and forcing a trade if you're not doing well. Okay, it's all up here. Sound body, sound mind, that whole thing. Anyways, liquidation from a 30-day perspective here, we can kind of see roughly the same scenario. There's maybe $500 million in liquidation in the $26 range, which could very well be the next area of support. Generally, you're going to see liquidation accrue at support levels. When we take a look here, the delta is pretty far down to the bottom. In other words, there's a lot of shorts in the market. When you see a lot of shorts and the delta's high coming into a key level support, that generally implies reversal. A lot of times the market makers will see that we're too heavy on shorts right now. They're going to sweep the shorts and just ramp the price back up. So from a perspective here of what we've seen so far, even though we're traveling into an area of liquidation, I think there's a solid chance we're going to see the price at the very least wick up to destroy some late shorts here, because there's way too many in the market right now. Granted, this isn't like a phenomenal amount, but it's still very high. Last 5 days, we're starting to see that get too large, if you will. The only problem I see here is that open interest. We have a lot more open interest above the price action. Generally, that is construed as resistance ranges, and we have a lot of resistance above us. So AVAX is not in a prime position. There's no other way around it. Minus manipulation, we should see the price continue lower just based on the simple fact that we are starting to create this parallel low and lower high pattern, which I don't generally like to trade into, but typically it will break down. It's usually a breakdown pattern. Okay, anyways, just kind of throwing it out there. Food for thought, right? I mean, the more knowledge you have, the better decisions you're going to be able to make. That's general consensus. And please do your own due diligence here. Make sure you are always doing your own research and making sure that you're not just following everybody online and doing what they say you're going to do, or they're going to do whatever. I don't recommend the same thing for me either. I mean, granted, if you're part of my community, you'll probably find a lot of benefit with my trades. They're fairly successful, but it doesn't mean that I take a trade every time I analyze a coin. I tell you it's going to go in either direction. And the same goes for Moon Boys too. You probably shouldn't be watching people that are telling you things are going to the stratosphere, because that's just not how crypto trading should work. It happens occasionally. Some people get rich off of it. Most people get poor off of it. All right, so daily time frame. What are we looking at here? Simple moving averages. We're testing the 20-day SMA. Generally good to be above that, right? That's kind of reinforces that support at 27.40. If we look at the price action down below here, basically, we can see a lot of divergence though. A lot of momentum shifting here. MACD is trying to shift down. We can see the stochastic is topping out. We're getting closer to 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is right there with it. Generally, when I see this as a conflicting information, we got momentum pushing us into a key level support. I don't like to trade that. Again, if we break below the support and we retest it as a resistance, that's a different story. For right now, still premature. At this point though, daily time frame looks like a bit of a wash. 4-hour time frame, we can kind of double check and respect the fact that we are below the 20 and the 50-day SMA, usually construed as a bearish sign, likely to see further downside because of it. We could even be seeing a pennant type of pattern here forming, which is usually also a bearish sign. My illustration is terrible. I'll clean this up and post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord if you're not familiar. Looks a little something like this. Make sure you trust no one else. Unfortunately, there's a lot of scammers out there. I'll never direct message you first or try to solicit you. Anyways, these are the results that I generally have. This is last month. For example, we don't take a massive amount of trades, but generally 80% is the average success rate. And again, I wanted to highlight that because AVAX is a coin that I generally like to trade, and I like to wait for confirmation on this coin. Right now, we're in this weird transition, and it makes no sense to force a long position just because you're testing a support. However, you do got to recognize previous resistance should hold as a support here. We are more than likely going to see a pivot. The only difference is Bitcoin dominance is way too high, and money is flowing away from altcoins going right into Bitcoin. So if that is the case here, is it really smart to take a long here at support if the price is just going to continue lower? Doesn't make a ton of sense. We're under 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is very low. This is not a good sign at all. We can see stochastic is trying to swing up, and this is generally construed as a beneficial sign when you want to take a long, right? In other words, when the RSI is closer to 30, money flow down at 20, you'll usually see a recovery from there. Okay? And it may not last very long, but we might see a little bit of recovery. So my money is here, price pulling back up to this key fib level here and pulling back down. Okay, now again, I'll update our fibs if necessary on our playout chart here soon, but everything we see here on the 4-hour is mostly bearish. The only thing we have is somewhat of a support range, is that $27 mark, and that is based on the 100 and 200-day SMA. But if we do kind of zoom out here and just look at this local range, ever since we've been $24 to $30 as a rough estimate, we're right there at that point of control, so we have a lot of support here too. So generally speaking, we have a decent amount of confluence right at this 27.40 mark. So if we do hold above that here today, Bitcoin continues to maintain its 66, 67K range. I think AVAX has a decent chance of continuing higher from here. But again, it's a chance, it's a possibility, not a probability at this point, okay? And once more, those are two very different things. Take a look here at the Ichimoku Cloud. This also confirms short positions are going to find more success than longs right now because we have a lot of momentum. We're below this key level resistance, and we also have the lag and span free and clear letting us know this momentous downtrend may not be done or over with. So I think that statistically here, we are likely to see the price pull back a little bit further. But we got to give a chance for this support level to hold, see if that happens first, right? So the key takeaway here is you don't really want to take a short into a support level, and you don't want to take a long into a resistance. That is basically construed as breakout trading, and I don't really do that in these markets. The market isn't really a breakout trade scenario right now. You really only find that when the price action is going crazy with Bitcoin and altcoins are following suit. We are far from that right now. Bitcoin dominance needs to come back down to the 56, 57% range in order for that to even happen. Okay, so we're a long ways away. Either way, that's where we're at. That's the situation. It is what it is. Love it or hate it, I don't care. Either way, I hope that you learned something. That's the important thing here. And if you did, feel free to comment below. More importantly, just hit that like button every single time you watch my videos. It really helps get this in front of more people and prevents those moon boys maybe a little bit from getting the views, because I don't know, if you just wear sunglasses and play techno music and have an English accent, then you have a good tendency of being very successful in this industry, at least with views are concerned. I don't mean success, because they're typically not very successful because they're just babbling buffoons. I'm one too, don't get me wrong. For the most part, I go on rampant tangents, but they're mostly designed to help take my 20 years of experience plus in trading and kind of impart you with some good knowledge. So I hope you learned something. If you want to learn a lot more, cryptocash.tech is a site linked down below. Make sure you take advantage of Bitunix exclusive deposit bonus as well. It's also available. This is only available till the end of the month, and that's for our current community members. You used my link to register in the past, you're automatically eligible. That's pretty much how it works. I look forward to working with you either way. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you.